Well, hello, you Tubetonians and otherwise. Your old friend Mike. A short talk by the trailer. Look at this gem. This thing's a 1907. Looking good. It's the way I describe it to people, if they have to find it, take a look at this. See that corner up there? That's aerodynamic. They used to make these in the 50s like you were going to, I guess, hook it up to a truck and go camping like a, like a modern RV. I don't know about that. As you can see, my green spot is, that's really what I'm doing this morning. It's a Monday morning. And sitting out while the shade is still here. Boy, that sun burner comes on, boo-boo. But here's a good thing. I thought to myself, yesterday, why not try, going for a walk in the heat? So I found a nice shop rag, just a white terry cloth rag, put it on here, ball cap, and went for a nice walk. Walked all the way down to the Spotted Dog, and then just for the sheer enjoyment of it, besides that I wanted to get some beer. There's a little quick stop down there. If you buy quarts of Corona Familiar, muy grandes, it's really cheaper than it is buying it in a six-pack if you just do it price per ounce, which is the way my mind works. So I drove back the same route because I'd sat down by a ditch bank, a real nice ditch bank over there on, I think it must be Union. And it's right where the irrigation crosses, so I just sat there by the water. And it's kind of funny, yesterday the ditch is so full, I've never seen this before. Somehow it traps air and then it just keeps bubbling out on the other end where I was. And it kind of, I've never seen an irrigation ditch bubble air like that, but I went to the other side. I see how it works. It gets trapped under a cyclonic kind of thing. Interesting, but at any rate, watering the grass and thinking about things here a little bit. Have you noticed, it seems to me, since I have no one to talk to, how about I talk to you? Imaginary people, the worst kind. I saw a soda pop can over here earlier, and I thought, what is this? Is my front yard a garbage scow for the neighborhood? The problem is there's a lot of winds. The prevailing winds come in here from over yonder, kind of southwestish a lot of the time, not all the time. And anyway, carries all kinds of debris into my yard. Very nice. I like picking up other people's trash. Gives me a little something to do during the day, you know what I mean? One of the things that drives me nuts, I must have caught this from my dad. He was a working collar, a blue collar guy, and he used to like to walk a lot too. He used to walk every day, I believe, that I remember. And anyhow, big walker, but wasn't long, maybe 2 or 3 miles tops. But anyway, he'd pick up cans, and he's just kind of a neighborhood guy. He kept an eye on that dog over there. Watch out for that one, Anyhow, you get down to the park. There's a little Grisham Park. I did a video not long ago, I think, where I caught some Grisham, I hope. It's a park where I grew up in Albuquerque. Well, there's the steel trash can that's chained up, right? Because someone's going to steal the trash can. And then they even thoughtfully put a big plastic bag on the inside and put your trash in that. People will walk across the park. I see this all the time over here at this little park. They'll walk across the park 50 feet, 100 feet, 300 feet, I don't know, with trash in their hands, like they stopped at Whataburger, they got a cup, they got French fry, whatever. And they get to the can and tragically miss at the last moment. They miss by 14 inches. Think of that. It's just, it'd be like saying, well, yeah, we meant to fly a rocket to the moon and we got 99.96% there and ran out of gas. Well, that'd be a little bit ridiculous. Never giving you with the whole issue of orbital mechanics. No, we're not going there. It was an illustration, a little bit like Bugs Bunny. I remember Bugs. I can't remember how this worked. He was like on a falling airplane. I think the airplane was in a nosedive going down or something. Can't remember. I think he just stepped out at the very last moment, just before it impacted. I was like, good choice. And some of those Looney Tunes had some pretty clever drawings, the way that they kind of bent the laws of physics. I think my cigarette went out because I like to just set it down. Now, to me, that's a sign of a real cigarette. A lot of the modern cigarettes, if you put it down, it doesn't matter. It'll just burn itself up. And these do, depending on what they're on. This is on a wood step that probably needs another coat of paint. And anyway, the point of the story, man, the funny physics of the Looney Tunes. I used to watch that stuff growing up when I was a kid. I watched cartoons just about every Saturday in the 60s growing up, for sure. And gosh, I'm trying to remember. No, it was really just Saturday mornings most of the time. Now, sometimes you luck out and see a cartoon in a movie occasionally or something when you're a kid. But by the 60s, they were trailing off. They used to do cartoons and all that stuff in the 50s and 40s in movies. But even they used to do a news report, and who knows how true that was. Speaking of news, this is one of the reasons I wanted to make the video, other than just talking about Looney Tunes. I mean, I'm sitting here by myself. I'm going to go to work in 3 hours, and I just thought, So I was scrolling through this very same, what do you call it? This thing, YouTube, whatever the hell it is. And I'm noticing now that I call it a thaw. There's a thaw. Do you remember? I think you do. 2020, 2021, 2022. What do those years all have in common? Egregious censorship conducted by major media platforms and the so-called media and the government. This was this huge face, a stone wall face. Total line. This is the deadliest plague since the bubonic or whatever, Get out of here. And then all this to introduce the magic bullet. The needle that just won't quit. It's like, well, if one's good, 9 must be freaking great. And so you keep hearing all kinds of stuff about possibly another strain and all this stuff and whatever. And you know what? I'm just sick of it. I don't want to hear their lies anymore. But at any rate, the lies that were in place to suppress the truth in unrighteousness just 18 months ago, just 2 years ago. I remember what it was like. You try to start looking everything that had anything to do with the so-called problem imported through a meat market, supposedly, the one. Everything had to be discussed in such a way that the censors wouldn't jump down your lungs. All kinds of videos were, halted. Entire platforms were shut down that did not cohere with, shall we say, the narrative. And the narrative was and is lies. Lies. We know where lies come from. They come from that nobody down there. There's nobody who thought he was going to be a somebody. Hey, who caused all these lies? Nobody. Who's responsible at Twitter? Nobody. Who's responsible at YouTube? Nobody. But the algorithms had been set. So now the bosses can kind of say, well, it's just a machine error. I mean, who knew? I mean, gee whiz, we're trying to do the best we can here. No, you have an axe to grind. You have an agenda. If you look at this AI junk, all this information that's coming out now about, Chat GPT and all this stuff, they're, on one sense, they're kind of like a bright spark, an early riser, but they ain't what they're cracked up to be. It's nowhere near sentient, and it's never was intended to be. But the thing is that you can tell where they programmed the thing. Like San Francisco Bay Area, look at the politics that GPT maintains. It says, I have no agenda. I have no agenda. I'm a robot. I can't have an agenda. Now, here's my agenda. And so all this is coming out now. This censorship, all of a sudden they got a little bit lighter touch. Have you noticed? Certain kind of videos now are getting through that didn't used to. Certain things can be said now. Certain speakers who were not allowed to be on airwaves, you can see them here and there now. And certain names that are not supposed to be mentioned, they're coming up, and they're on the headers. And they don't even bother on a lot of them to put those stupid blue banner things underneath it, Get the real story about the massive Dash 19. Oh, authorized by the UN and other reliable sources. Maybe the WEF had something to say with that. And so all this crap about these devilish, really devilish tycoons, I guess you'd call them devilish tycoons. Maybe I just coined a phrase. That stuff wouldn't have been in the media either. And they're bringing out all this stuff about the spaceships, right? Supposedly we've got wrecked spaceships. I'd like to see one, I guess. And the thing is that, are they real? Is any of this real? And so, by golly, now this actually bothers me. This is how weird I am. Okay, sorry. I have a terrible confession. Since I was like 7, I've been coming out watering the same Bermuda grass. Up in Albuquerque, they have the same grass. I don't know where you live, but this stuff is called Bermuda. It spreads out. Pretty tenacious grass. Once you've got it in, it's actually quite difficult to get it out. I'm perhaps the one person on the planet who is unable to grow this stuff. And so actually I gave up this years ago. I just gave up trying to water. This grass back here hasn't looked this good probably in 10 years. And really it's only been, probably the last month and a half or 2 that I've been watering, and nothing like this. I mean, I'm talking watering once or twice a week. Of coming out in the mornings and taking baby in it and caring for all that. I didn't do any of that. So the grass looks way better here, and it ain't much. But I just like walking around barefoot in it. Oddly, I'm not barefoot right now. And but I like to come out here, if cooking your head off. But anyway, I was out there walking, getting carried back again. I do that a lot with my stories, don't I? I was talking to you earlier about how I ended up getting the beer because I went back to get my cigarettes because I forgot to get them, and as a result, I just drove in one huge circle, the same route that I walked, just to see off my odometer on the car how far it is, and it's about 7 miles. And so I was off. My guesstimate was 7.25, maybe even up toward a half, but I was off by that much. It's not even quite 7 miles. It's like 6.9. Right at the edge. And so anyway, the point is that when you begin to look at all this stuff that's out there, that's kind of manifesting through your little video window, see, you've got your own algorithm. If you're seeing this, it's because of something. You've made decisions in the past, certain decisions, and then the thing feeds you what it thinks you'll like, and then when you like that, it likes it more and sends more of that junk. So it ends up being very monotonous. It's like a stew, hearing the same drivel over and over again. Oh, look, another shocking revelation of political corruption. Oh, look, the banks are going to fail. Or whatever. But I think a lot of that's running common across various things. But now a lot of people are probably just in this for, entertainment. But, I mean, just look at fun videos. I was watching some of that stuff this morning. These Darwin Awards things, some of those are brutal. I mean, seriously, I mean, people, no wonder they call them the Darwin Awards. But it's actually a pretty interesting site over on Facebook. Maybe on this platform too, I wouldn't know. And I just browse around. And so I'm not really looking for anything. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to detect the scheme, the direction, the energy, the pressure, what's cooking. What's going on out there in terms of not so much the news stories, because most of those are fake anyway, and then the real news stories like train wrecks caused on purpose, and we're not going to cover that. See, doesn't exist. There was no train. That's all. And the lies that we're just inundated with on a daily basis, it makes you. I can see how it could make a chap bitter or perhaps angry. People act out. They do all kinds of weird stuff nowadays. I was watching some videos about, ostensibly these were in Christian churches, like LGBTQ fly rainbow peoples with the makeup doing the sermon. And it's like, or whatever. It was like, And so, I mean, in a way, everything's just kind of going off the rails. Everything you ever knew about the world is about to change, and abruptly, and not necessarily for the better. But at first, it's going to seem like a gay pride parade in San Francisco in 1979, or whenever they began that junk. I don't know. But in other words, it was very boisterous, very happy, forward-looking, progressive, edgy, cool. That's what they're using to get all this crap in the door. That's how the lie works. And so the thing is that all this stuff that the Christians are talking about, the Antichrist, he's among us, or he may not be, or whatever. Maybe he knows the Pope. Probably is. Probably they're buddies. They play poker and shit. Never mind. Oh boy, that finger went numb. Just holding this darn phone. Ugh. Anyway, getting back to what we were ostensibly discussing, and I kind of wandered a bit, and I'm just thinking how the time it's lightening up all of a sudden. In other words, what I mean, the censorship, the clampdown, the shrillness of the lie, and there actually appears to be quite a few people out here in reality land who said, I call bullshit. I call bullshit on you, Fauci. Liar. I call bullshit on you, Poodle, Nancy, Mitch. I call bullshit. I'm not taking this crap from you. I refuse to participate in your shit. And in other words, people just tuning out. They call it taking the red pill, white pill, blue pill. Hey, let's take one of each. In other words, patriotism coming back. Now, if you're a good American, we hope, then you want America to thrive and be strong. If you're a good New Zealander, well, it's probably already lost, but you want a strong New Zealand, right? You want a country to be proud of, right? And being part of some tertiary global consortium where you have called yourself subslot Z56 Prime, yeah, make up a national anthem about that one, will you? And instead of the rockets' red glare, it's sort of like the eyesores were there. Instead of through the night, still through the night, it's like, what? More of this blight? And what you want is you want something wholesome. You want to go have a carrot, go have a peach. You know what I mean? Preferably if it's grown in your yard. Yeah. And get yourself something like food-like. You know what I mean? This junk that they're selling in boxes and bags and stuff. And by the way, who was it? I didn't get the memo. Who was it that decided, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start packaging things inside plastic bags, which cannot be opened. That way you'll never run out, because you can't get into it. Why have things become unopenable lately? Or, I mean, why do I need really a sharp knife or a pair of scissors to open a plastic bag with a handful of peanuts in it? Maybe we should put a fire danger zone warning around it and put it in a lead casket somewhere and bury it underground. What's in that junk? We don't want to take a chance between the store and the house of this stuff actually leaking into the environment. That's why you can't get past the bag. But anyway, surely I jest. And I almost done. I don't want to spoil this here grass and get it all sassy and stuff, because that means I just got to mow it again. It's kind of like this eternal dilemma. Why am I watering it? So it'll be green. But when it gets green, doesn't it grow? Yeah. Doesn't that mean you're going to have to cut it? Yeah. So you're watering it so you can cut it. Well, no. But yes. Welcome to my universe. Stupid cat. Get out of here. There's a bunch of feral cats around. I don't like cats. I don't understand why people even want them around. It's not like they're friendly or anything. I mean, they just sit there, stare at you, and pretend to be superior. It's like, reminds me of some people I know. And so, maybe that's why they like them. Reminds them of somebody they know. I never thought of that. Sentimental me. So at any rate, I'm going to smoke another one and probably find some reason to summarize this chat, because it really hasn't been about anything, except this is what old guys might do on a bench. And just so happens I'm on a stir step, which is close to a bench. Got my feet on the ground and I got my grounded shoes. I'm still going to show you my grounded shoe again. If you have not seen the beauty, check this bad boy out. It's an old New Balance sneaker. That's a piece of, see if I can roll my foot a little bit. That's what's called copper plumber's tape. Get it at the hardware. It's already got the holes drilled in it. Next time I'm gonna set it up with just a piece of copper, because these are breaking. I went through one after about 10 days of hard walk, and I've been on this one for about 2 weeks. Anyway, lug screw, what do you call that mechanical thing, electrical device, whatever. Just a long screw, wood screw, under your foot, please, under your foot. Other one under here, if you can see that. Anyway, then the wire flares up here. That's 14 gauge stranded. You get unpeel about the last 7 to 10 inches of the green insulation there, and so I got wire stranded. Then I went metal, and so it's in between a metal sandwich down there, and my foot rests on it. Thereby, I'm grounded, and it's been such a strange experience for me. It's only been a couple of weeks already, but I already feel like just better. I don't know how to describe it. Less bugged by all the stupidity and the political crap and the lies and the BS, it's just a storm. It's a tsunami of words. About 85% are very sketchy. Like a good 30% of what you hear is just outright lies, at least. But the next 55%, I got up to 85 now. Let's keep counting, Mike. Sketchy. There's something that we're not hearing. This is a stilted story. It's not a fair report. Then you got 15% at the end. You can watch a nice heartwarming video sometime. Little girl playing around with her cat or dog, or some little kid leading a pony along on a road. Nice stuff. Or hey, here's Donald J. Trump stepping down a runway to cheers. People thronging that man because they love him and respect him. Show me one video clip of Joe Biden, the poodle, even getting like 2 people to even look at him or care for a second what kind of racket is falling out of his mouth this time. Liar. And that's the thing. We can say things now that we suddenly realize we really should have been saying all along. I think this is about myself, but this is one of the reasons I started this channel. I don't think anyone's going to hear this, except for the NSA. I might have a couple of viewers, 2 or 3 or 4. I don't know. I look at the views thing. There's another app. Why do I have this other app? It's a YouTube app thing, and it's, what do you call it? Channel Analytics. Ooh, I got that right. And I guess it's a statistical grab at what this video did compared to that. Who cares? It's like, well, this one got 3 views. This one got 0. In fact, I didn't even watch that one. And I wrote it, But whatever. It's not like I'm taking the world by storm here, thank goodness. I don't think I could handle the fame. I'd have to wear wraparound dark glasses and act real cool. That would work. Trust me. Nah, it ain't fame and fortune. It's that we need to say the truth. Joseph Biden is a criminal. He belongs behind bars for federal crimes, felonies, serial felonies. Plus, he should be impeached. Plus, he should be fined, stripped of any opportunity to ever even be a U.S. citizen, and housed in Guantanamo in maximum security until he dies, at the very minimum. Then, actually, I think if public execution for high treason were to kick in through the military courts, I'd be all for that too. Conducted by a firing squad of able-bodied men and women. That would be right. Ain't gonna happen. He's gonna die rich. He's gonna die fat. He's gonna die happy. He's gonna die thinking he won. Bad place to go, Joe. Don't want to be there. You thought you were gonna outsmart your king? You thought you were gonna outrun righteousness? You thought your crooked little 2-bit gain the world and lose your soul crap was going to actually fly in the face of his examination? Remember, Joe, and everybody else, after you die, see, the reason that COVID sold is they were selling what? Fear. Fear of what? Death. Well, guess what? They brewed up a magic needle that does just that. It's amazing. Talk about a coincidence. They built, we would like to think it this way, and I've heard it said, that they built the medicine for the disease. The disease was built for the introduction of the meds. Why do they want that crap in your body? Have you asked that? Why are worldwide leaders, I mean, globally, yes, the U.S. is involved and they're egregious, but Europeans all over, but maybe not so much the African nations, I don't know. Is it really a global consensus that among nation leaders that you should put this poison in your body? How do they win? Why do they want that crap in you? And I think part of it is that, yes, it will kill. I mean, they're actually interested in that. I believe this. That this is not questionable. This is fact. They have committed themselves to wanting to eliminate something like 13 parts out of 14 of the human race. Their old number used to be 500 million humans total. And guess who they might be? And guess who they get to choose to be at the point of a gun? Or needles. But that ain't going to take them down the way they want. That ain't going to be a big number reducer. But what it does is it harms. Now your body is, people have this onset of all these horrible things in their body now, and aches or pains or just weird phenomenon, which is ostensibly supposed to be unrelated, like Parkinson's or diabetes or renal failure or, all kinds of interesting stuff. But in other words, it weakens you. It makes you a victim of the medical experts. Remember? You're going to need help. You're going to need doctors, and they will be at a premium. And guess what? All of their magic potions along with that. It's a huge money-making gambit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first weaken you so that you need, we think, or you're told, more chemicals produced, coincidentally enough, by me at a profit. And by the way, I'm in a bulletproof position as a medicine maker. You can't sue me. Doesn't matter what's in my crap. I could be selling you, rat poison. Doesn't matter. Because I can't be sued. Doesn't matter how bad my damages are. But in other words, when you get a large population, now how many of the Americans took, number-wise? It's 330 million. Was it 80%? Maybe higher. I don't really know the number, but a lot of darn people went and saw the... they were doing this stuff in drugstores, being administered by young women and stuff. This is on video. They don't know how to do an injection properly. They were doing it over and over. Bad. Terrible problem. Why was the government so eager to have that in your bloodstream? Think about that one. And there's all kinds of things that could come in here, but the name of the game is make you dependent, make you weak, make you look to them for your life and for your answers and for your slender, scabby hope. I tell you what, if you're building your hope on what the UN can offer in an emergency, please don't. The world is getting scary and strange, and guess what? Jesus Christ is ready and able. He steps in the lives and hearts of real men and real women who stand up and say, I demand the truth of you, so-called federal authority. I demand that you tell me what's in this so-called magic juice that you want to hide the ingredients for 75 years. Tell me, I demand the truth according to truth as God defines it. I haven't moved from him and he hasn't left me. And this whole rapture schmapture stuff is just crazy talk. It is crazy. Go back and reread Thessalonians in context, please. What is he talking about when he talks about being lifted up and carried to the Lord? It's at his return. And what he's saying is this. Look, everybody's going to see Jesus. Every human being will stand up again for the judgment. He says so. He'll make it happen. That's non-negotiable. But no man has any hope in that hour. So what was being sold was fear. Fear of what? Death, ostensibly. Which, by the way, they're readily introducing and making a ton of money off of. But that's not the problem. It's death, and then what? Shortly thereafter, you know in your heart, man, you know in your heart, little boy, little girl, whoever you are, man, woman, you know it's wired into you. Don't you deny it. You shall stand before your Maker and give an account. That's non-negotiable. And if you're walking in there under Adam's covering, that filthy, vile, remember that what he did, him and mom, Adam and Eve, First thing they did is they hid. And then they made themselves these bogus little fig leaf operations. Sex, death, it's all rooted into the lie. In terms of this shame feature and how they control people, that ain't Jesus' way at all. He doesn't do that. He comes in and he clears the deck. He says, look, the only thing that's going to do is righteousness. And I mean absolute. If Mike Labor, if you, Alice, if you, Sandy, if you, Juanita, if you, Jose, don't have that absolute perfect righteousness, then you're toast, man. You're hammered toast on fire. And you know it. You have no hope in the judgment. But that's why he came. That's precisely why the Messiah, the covenant was cut before things. The Lamb was slain before the foundation of the earth. And there's an element in which this whole design was to build courageous, bold, fierce, believing men and women who will not back down on the demands of justice. Because justice shall be done. It doesn't even matter whether you like it. The problem is you can't survive it unless he covers you. And that's why he came. Won't you invite Jesus in? It's the only reasonable thing to do. But we're not reasonable, are we? And that's what we're seeing all around, the unreason, the illogic, the lie upon the lie, which contradicts the lie, which went the other lie to the lie. And they're getting lost in that. It's like being lost in being dizzy. I'm just going to be professionally dizzy. And so I'm looking right at the camera. I'm hoping that it looks like a little silver spot, and I hope that means I'm looking you in the eye. Pay attention. It's your life that they're trying to squander. It's your life that they're trying to rearrange and guide some way you don't want. No, you are a sovereign man. You are a sovereign woman. You are a free creature. Even if you're in prison today, you are free to stand up and admit the truth that I love you, Jesus, and the God of truth will have his way, and there is salvation. Even I, wretched I, who do not deserve, I don't know how many times I backstabbed him. Way more than it should have been, 0, but we do the best we can. But the problem is we're broken in the fall. We're born bent. I tell people I was born, the first thing I did was lie. No, it wasn't me. You got the wrong gringo. But of course I couldn't say it for several years. It takes a while to learn the local lingo, you know what I'm talking about. But I definitely remember that. No, I don't. But it's funny though. Anyway, we're wrecked, but he's the Savior. That's what they call him, Salvador, salvation. You think of a salvage project. That's interesting. He's going down. I like a picture, C.S. Lewis again, a mental picture. Think of a diver going way deep, just on lung power, as into the dark. And to pull up a great prize from really essentially beyond what the lungs should do. And emerge, burst to the surface with a prize in his hand. He's got a pearl. That pearl is Jesus. He's the one who is sought by the Father and was found, and there's great rejoicing for the one who is 3. You see what happened at the cross. The Father turned his back on the Son and said, I don't know you. Be gone. Die. Something like that had to happen. And the Savior took upon him the freight of the guilt and the moral depravity and the disgustingness. Yes, even those LGBTQ parading in churches now. It's getting bad, folks. Getting bad. And what that means is you need to be true, straight up, and go do good things, earth things. Feed your kids, water the grass or whatever, pick up the trash, something. Another. Be part of the solution, not part of the disease. And the disease is all about paranoia and panic and denying and running away from the only one who could deal with this time. Yes, the times are going to get dark and darker yet. In fact, it'll become tragic in a way. Street riots, food riots, all kinds of things are coming. And many people will become scattered because of it in their hearts. Scattered, I mean away from the Lord. They'll take that as if he somehow lost control. No, our system is breaking down under the freight of judgment. Ha ha ha. America the Great, America the Grand, you Babylon whore. You thought you could make profit any way you want? No, the Lord blessed capitalism in the Adam Smith sense, but he never blessed anything about, BlackRock and all this crooked deals and all this horrible trading that's going on with trading blood for money, essentially, and calling that progress. I mean, this world is wicked, wicked, and we need to condemn it. Jesus said that he was condemning evil by simply revealing the right. The light appears and the evil runs back. It cannot tolerate being exposed. Expose the evil around you. Expose your own evil to your Father. I don't want to hear about it. But I'll hear about it if you feel you need to talk about it, like I do sometimes. You know, all the old darkness is still there, but it's dead now. I died, and now I'm alive again in Christ. It's remarkable. It's by virtue of Him in me. It's a new thing. So you go do something good today, and I'd say maybe a little work. Yeah, I'm going to do some work later. But take care of business, you know, the life that is normal for you. Don't let those rascals, don't let those thieves come in and ruin your joy. Enjoy your kids, enjoy your pets, enjoy your plants. And give your husband or your wife a kiss, you know. I guess you'll just have to figure out who's who. And I do mean the straight up version. There's only two genders, two made one in the sight of the Lord. That's what's real. The man, the creature, is called Adam. Adam is the two joined as one. That's the new man in the old creation garden. And yet it's a hint. It's a powerful whisper of true things, yet truer things yet in Messiah, the true Adam, the new Adam, the father of the race. Glory be to Him. That's what I say. Come join me and it'll help you feel better. Trust me. It takes a weight off you. It just takes a terrific weight off.